Hi guys, welcome to today's video, area, sine and cosine rules, worked examples. Let's get to it. Point A is your house. Your friend Tammy lives 15 kilometers due north of your house, represented by point B. And the school you both go to is at point C, such that angle A is equals to angle B and they are both equal to 50 degrees. Calculate the length of AC and the shortest distance from the school to the line joining the two homes. Okay, if you look at AC, we know the value of the angle it subtends. That is angle B, which is equal to 50 degrees. And assessing that diagrams, it looks like we're going to have to use sine rule, because we know that we are looking for AC and we know the value of the angle AC subtends, which is angle B, which is equal to 50 degrees. But then again, we're given another side, which is AB, but we don't know angle C, the value of the angle it subtends. But we can simply work it out using what? The sum of angles inside a triangle. We know the other two values of the angles inside this triangle, and hence we can simply find the third angle. And doing that, I'm going to go on and say the length of AC, I'm going to go on and say angle C is equal to 180 degrees minus 2 multiplied by 50 degrees, because we have two angles that are equal to 50 degrees, and that is equal to 80 degrees. My reason was sum of angles inside of a triangle, and now we know the value of C is 80 degrees. Now, applying the sine rule, I'm going to go on and say sine C over AB is equal to sine B over AC, because if you look at side AB, it subtends angle C, and side AC, it subtends angle B, and hence I've constructed my sine rule accordingly. Now, plugging in the values I have, sine of 80 degrees divided by 15 is equal to sine 50 divided by AC, and cross multiplying that, I will have AC sine of 80 degrees is equal to 15 sine of 50 degrees, and making AC subject to the formula and dividing both sides by sine 80, I will have AC is equal to 15 sine of 50 degrees divided by sine of 80, and hence AC is equal to 11.67 kilometers. Moving on to the second one, which is the shortest distance from the school to the line joining the homes, AB. That is the perpendicular height of the triangle, otherwise known. And to do that, first, I'm going to go on and say tan of angle A is equal to opposite over adjacent. That is, I'm focusing on triangle, smaller triangle, CA, and the point that the 15 kilometers ends at there. And the opposite of that line is the hypotenuse, and the adjacent is the half of the 15 kilometers. And hence, substituting in the values, I will have tan of 50 degrees is equal to h divided by 15 divided by 2, which is 7.5 kilometers, and hence making h the subject of the formula, I will have h is equal to 7.5 tan of 50 degrees, and hence h is equal to 8.94 kilometers. And I've answered that question. Let's move on to the next example. Hi guys, if so far you are finding this lesson tolerable, please head on to our website using the link in the description below, and from there you can select the menu, select your grade, and select your subject, select the paper of that subject you want to study, and from there you will find the study materials of that particular subject paper, from YouTube videos to presentations to quizzes. Presentations are the notes I use on these videos, including the notes of this video. You can find them on the website using the link in the description. You don't need to take screenshots. Everything is there on the website for free. You can download the PDF papers, and when you're done going through the materials, you can always take a quiz to test your knowledge, and the quiz is 15 minutes time limited. You can go through the quiz taking it from one question on to the next, as you can see me doing. And when you're done taking the quiz, it will show you your score along with the percentage, along also with the memo of the questions you took, as you can see on my screen. And if you feel like you want to take the quiz again, you can always try again. If you feel you're confident that you've mastered the quiz, you can go back to the paper and continue with your studies. So please head to our website using the link in the description for all the study materials you might need. Thank you. ABCD is a trapezium. AB is parallel to CD, with CD is equal to 10 centimeters, AB is equal to 5 centimeters, angle CBD is equals to 120 degrees and angle D is equals to 30 degrees. Calculate the lengths BC and AC. First, I'm gonna look at triangle BCD, the non-right angled triangle. And inside that triangle, I can see that sine B over CD is equals to sine D over BC, because side CD subtends angle B and side BC subtends angle D. And I know 3 of those values, which means I can work out the 4th value, which is BC. Now, substituting in everything I know so far, sine of 120 degrees divided by 10 is equal to sine of 30 degrees divided by BC, and cross multiplying, I will have BC sine of 120 degrees is equal to 10 sine of 30 degrees, and making BC subject to the formula by dividing both sides by 120 degrees, I will have BC is equal to 10 sine of 30 divided by sine of 120 degrees, and hence I will have BC is equal to 5,77 centimeters, and I have found the length of BC. Now I'm left with finding the length of side AC. And in order to calculate the length of side AC, I'm going to look at triangle ABC. And in that triangle, I'm going to go on and say angle ABC is equal to angle BCD, because they are alternate angles and because AB is parallel to CD as the question states. And hence, angle ABC is equal to angle BCD, and they are both equal to 180 degrees minus 220 degrees minus 30 degrees, which is equal to 30 degrees. And my reason was sum of angles inside a triangle. Now that I've found the length of angle ABC, I can go on and say AC squared is equal to AB squared plus BC squared minus 2AB BC cos of B. And that is the cosine rule. I'm applying the cosine rule because I know the value of 2 sides and an angle in between them, or one of the sides is the one that I'm looking at rather, or looking to find, and hence I can apply the cosine rule. And now, substituting in everything I know so far, I will have AC squared is equal to 5 squared plus 5,77 squared minus 2 multiplied by 5 multiplied by 5,77 multiplied by cos of 30 degrees, and that will give me AC is equal to square root of 5 squared plus 5,77 squared minus 2 times 5,77 cos of 30 degrees, and that will give me an AC value of 2.89 centimeters. And I am done with that particular question. Now let's take a look at the next questions. Tabo wants to measure the distance BC, but fails to do so directly as there is a deep valley between the 2 points. He then decides to stand at point A, which is equidistant from B and C, and measure the angle BAC. Question number 1. If AB is equals to C and the angle BAC is equals to theta, show that BC is equals to C multiplied by square root of 2 multiplied by 1 minus cos of theta. Let's take a look at the solutions. First, I'm going to go on and apply the cosine rules, because again, I know the value of AB and I know the value of AC, because AB is equals to AC since this is an isosceles triangle. And I know the angle in between them is theta, is angle A, and hence I'm going to go on and say BC squared is equals to AB squared plus AC squared minus 2AB multiplied by BC cos of A. And substituting in everything I know, I will have BC squared is equals to C squared plus C squared minus 2 multiplied by C cos of theta. And simplifying that and adding the C squareds, I will have BC squared is equals to 2C squared minus 2C squared cos of theta. And now, taking out the common factor of 2C squared, I will have BC squared is equals to 2C squared all multiplied by 1 minus cos of theta. And now, introducing the square root, I will have BC is equals to square root of 2C squared all multiplied by 1 minus of cos of theta. The C squared, I can take it out of the square root of, give it a square root of its own, and everything else I will leave inside another square root. And hence, I am doing this. BC is equals to square root of C squared multiplied by square root of everything, having removed C squared, and that will give me the following. Now, simplifying that, square root of C squared will fall into being just c. The squared will fall off, and hence I will have BC is equals to c multiplied by 2 all multiplied by 1 minus of cos of theta, and hence I have shown that BC is equals to c multiplied by square root of 2 1 minus cos of theta. Moving on to the second question, which states, calculate BC if c is equals to 250 kilometers and theta is equals to 132 degrees. I'm just going to go on and substitute everything into the formula that I've found. That is, BC is equals to 250 multiplied by 2, 1 minus cos of 132 degrees, and that will give me a BC value of 456.77 kilometers. Now, let's move on to the last question. Find the area of ABCD correct to 2 decimal places. I am given that angle B is a right angle, hence 90 degrees, and I'm given the value of AB as 4 meters, the value of BC as 6 meters, the value of AD as 5 meters, and the value of angle D as 120 degrees. First, I'm going to divide this shape into 2 triangles, a right-angled triangle and a non-right-angled triangle as follows. And first, I'm going to focus on the right-angled triangle ABC. And on triangle ABC, I will say AC squared is equals to AB squared plus BC squared. That is the Pythagoras theorem. And substituting in my values, I will have AC is equals to square root of 4 squared plus 6 squared. And that will give me an AC value of 7.21 meters. Now I have the length of side AC. Moving on to triangle ADC, the non-right-angled triangle now. And there I'm going to apply the sine rule. That is, sine of angle ACD over AD is equals to sine of angle ADC all over AC, because I know that AD subtends angle ACD and AC subtends angle ADC. And substituting in those values, now I'll have sine ACD over 5 is equals to sine 120 degrees divided by 7.21. And cross multiplication, I'll have 7.21 sine ACD is equals to 5 sine of 120 degrees. And dividing both sides by ACD and moving the sine into the right hand side, I will have angle ACD is equals to arc sine of 5 sine 120 degrees divided by 7.21, and that will give me an ACD value of 36.91 degrees. And now I'm going to go in and find angle CAD. And I'm going to go on and say angle CAD is equals to 180 degrees minus 120 degrees minus 36.91 degrees. That is because of sum of angles inside a triangle ADC. And that will give me an angle CAD rather of 23.09 degrees. Now I know the internal angles of triangle ACD, and hence I can work with it nicer now. And now I'm going to go on and say area of ABCD is equal to area of triangle CAD plus area of triangle ABC. And I'm going to go on now and say area of triangle ABCD is equal to 1 over 2 AD AC sine of CAD. That is applying the area rule, plus 1 over 2 base times height on the right angle triangle AB multiplied by BC, hence. And substituting in now my values, I will have area of ABCD is equals to 1 over 2, 5 multiplied by 7.21 multiplied by sine of 23.09 plus 1 over 2, 4 multiplied by 6, and that will give me an area value of 19.07 meter squared. And that brings me to the end of the lesson. Thank you for joining me, and please do comment below on which chapters do you want me to cover next. Until next time, take care.